Cool. It is 6:14 on Thursday, April 14th. We are scheduled to have a meeting of the Moab City Planning Commission. However, we do not have a quorum of Planning Commission members at this time, so we are not holding an official meeting. We are still going to have a conversation, talk about some agenda items, but we will take no action, make no official decisions this evening, and nothing is determinative. In attendance are myself, Kaya Marienfeld, other planning commissioners, Ruben Villapando Salas and Jeremy Lynch, city planning director, Corey Shurtleff, and other city staff, and our city council liaison, Luke Wojciechowski, is here as well. All right. Because this is not an official meeting, we don't have official citizens to be heard, but also if you are here for citizens to be heard, please feel free to come up and speak. We will take note. And we can transfer that comment to the next time if you want, when it's an official meeting, if you have anything. So I don't know if either of you guys are here to speak, but all right. That was easy. We cannot attend to our action items, but we can certainly maybe do a preview and discuss them, Corey, kind of see what's coming up.
Yeah, we certainly can discuss both site plans and then into what may have been the future agenda items discussion about potential plans coming before the commission. The first item we had was Planning Resolution 02-2022, which is the Level 2 site plan and final phase site plan for the Atlas Apartments. So again, it's going to be that tandem block of the preliminary site plan as well as the phase 1, and then we'll have them come back in for their consecutive phases 2, 3, and potentially a fourth on this one. All the materials are in the agenda packet, so I'm not feeling inclined to necessarily walk through it in full at this point, but it's an 80-unit apartment complex with multiple style building construction, redeveloping the old hospital site.
Hooray!
Yeah, it's really exciting. We're enthusiastic about getting that first phase going. It will likely be our first breaking ground of the series of apartments that we might be coming to see in the city. Slight description of the project is 80-unit multi-household development to start. Parking it at 129. It's going to be a mix of covered, uncovered spaces. It's going to have pool facilities later on in phase. Really originally started out as a similar project to what we had seen across from the ball field, but has now broken that building structure up into open access. So a little bit of a different look, but will essentially function the same that we've seen over there. Any questions on that so far from the packet?
No, I'm excited. Something's finally happening, and I know that the applicant has worked really hard and that the mayor has worked with the applicant, and it's been a long process for the planning department to get this thing going. So thanks to everybody involved, and thanks for the applicant for their patience too.
Yeah, we can't overstate how challenging it can be sometimes to get all the ducks in a row, because there's multiple lenses, of course, that need to approach each project, everything from fire, building and planning, land use codes, to all line up. So while, you know, a portion of our development departments might be ready to go on a project, like with this project, getting the engineering just right in a redevelopment site took a little bit extra time. So I do also on YouTube, I guess not on the record, but let the applicant know we appreciate his patience as we work to get that done. The next item for tonight was Planning Resolution 03-2022, approving the final phase 2 of the Hunu Hotel, kind of described as the phase 2 casitas. Basic review of those, 16-unit casita structures, or so not unit, but 16 casita structures that are going to be stacked and split styles. So 32 suite units that are going to be going on onto the west side of that Hunu Hotel site. They've already begun the grading, getting everything prepped, so they're eager to get to shovels as well. This will be a continuation, so these are overnight accommodations, which had been entitled during the original Hunu approval.
I thought these were going to be employee housing. What's going on with that for the Hunu? Did I hallucinate that?
No,
Okay.
so part of this site was going to be dedicated for that additional employee housing, not associated with this project, but
Yeah.
with a different project.
Yeah.
The Bynums are now looking at reallocating that housing somewhere else. So they've acquired or had acquired property directly across the street from the original employee housing, and so they're going to be developing manager and employee housing there for immediate turnover, so they're trying to move on that pretty quick, just through building permit, get some, I think they're going to be manufactured houses they actually already have on site. I think they're doing 3 at this point. They were trying to get 4 on there, but they're going to, I think, start the season with those 4, move them off, and then potentially do a 9-unit employee housing on Walnut Lane, so just to the north of the employee housing that they already have kind of in this vicinity. So if you were to look at I guess I will share screen on this.
Yeah.
So Jessica, we want
I'm
to,
curious because I know that was something that was prior to and not included in the shared workforce housing ordinance, but it was something that was mentioned frequently as it's not required, but they're basically doing anyway what the requirement would have been with the fee in lieu or
Right.
providing housing.
so this, housing unit here had been mirrored at this point, but they had been approved in the original site plan for these units. Through the process, they had actually evaluated the potential of doing oversized parking overflow in this area. So we got a number of plans showing decreased number of casitas, increased number of parking, all parking, some employee housing, but rather there's a site just to the north, if you can imagine where my cursor is floating, where they're going to be attempting to put some additional employee housing in turn of this site here. So I think I had this is part of the required plat amendment. It actually has gone through Planning Commission and Council already, if you recall this, but it was fixing up the platting of that area. So allowing this parcel to be developed as a single parcel, maintaining the hotel piece as a single parcel, and then bringing this unit, consolidating there. This is by far the best way to develop rather than trying to develop across parcel lines. While they do have infrastructure in the form of storm drainage, sewer, and water that cross here, there are mechanisms we're able to approve to allow that. That's part of the reason this has taken a little while to get to Planning Commission, is to get the engineering correct for the shared infrastructure. Typically, the way building code, zoning code is, a parcel is an island. It must be operable on its own. But for financial reasons, often we see a strategy of trying to keep basically if we think about it, one use or one property split up in parcels, and that creates a bunch of issues within the building and land use code. But financially, for investment strategies or whatnot, other strategies, that's an attempt that I think a lot of developers try to maintain. It's not something that I think is really conducive to the site to operate, because you end up handcuffing yourself in ways that a shared parcel would not. So those are the 2 items we're going to be discussing tonight. Among the future agenda items, we have the 2x3 townhomes. That's getting ready to move forward to Planning Commission approval. Western Spirit remodel is looking at getting fixed up. We'll likely probably see the 2x3 and potentially Portal Vista Phase 3 coming back sooner than later. Western may take a little bit. I have not seen the updated engineered plans. And then Staybridge Hotel. So this was the property we've discussed, I think, in the past. They've come before us with a pre-app and are now coming with a site plan. It was a property that was in the county and was granted overlay approval for overnight accommodations, and the city signed a pre-annexation agreement to bring them into the city with their entitlements for OA. So it will be a new OA to our list, but it's received its entitlements through the county and will be needing to comply with what many of the provisions we had outlined in the RC matrix of development requirements. So
What site is that?
yes, it's just to the what might be the southeast of the Henry Shaw. So A&E Electric would be just on the other side there. So they're looking at getting going pretty soon as well. We have Cane Creek Village was the rezone, the RA1 to R3 rezone with the development agreement. They're looking at getting going with their site plan, so we have
Cool.
a lot of development coming forward pretty quick. We have Jessica Thacker, Assistant Planner in the gallery. Any items I'm missing or forgetting about, future agenda items?
We got 3 site plan applications today.
So we're pretty busy. And there's even some subdivisions that have come in on top of that, so we're
Minor subdivision into expansion.
So we're going to have a lot going through DRT, and anybody listening, we appreciate your patience as we work through those. This is a heightened level of review, or a heightened level of incoming review items. So optimally, we try to keep our DRT reviews at a 2-week. That's not a rule. That's what we attempt to do to try to be as responsive as we can. In some cases, we can expedite it, hopefully, and be a little bit more even a little bit shorter turnaround. But when we do get a flood like this, it sometimes takes, because every department has to process these, up to 3 to 4 weeks. So I hope you can understand that we're working as hard as we can, but just to be patient with us as we try to get through them. That's really all I can think of, future agenda items and the like. Any questions about some of the future agenda items or those 2 items that we were supposed to see tonight?
I don't think so.
Nothing for me.
I had a minor thing, I guess, related to just parking in general, ADA parking. What's the requirement in Moab versus Utah? Or I guess just what's the requirement?
Right, it's state governed. It's, I think, actually federally governed. The American Disabilities Act is actually the presiding document. So it's something that the building department will assess as a part of our DRT. So it's not directly part of our land use code, but at a certain number of spaces, or what might be your occupant load of whatever the use might be, you get tripped into, okay, you've hit this many occupants, now you have to have this. Same goes for ADU bathrooms. So commercial spaces that are really small often may need only one space and maybe not a bathroom, so it's very kind of fluid there. But as you start getting up in those increments, it just is kind of a tag along every, I don't know, I want to say 15 spaces, something like that, you add a parking space.
That's because that's different than, because looking at this piece, I think it was like 1 in 25, I think I found online. So I guess I was just wondering if it was anything different, because the hospital piece there's like 3 for like 129. Just wondering if that was just the way that it happens, the way that it's in phases.
With the hospital, the only odd part about that is we were using already mixed parking, so that was more of a what's the term? A campus.
wasn't
So
standalone.
it's a collection of parcels that are a campus of a single use. So they have a blanketed shared use parking agreement. And as it was a hospital, I think they had an increased number of ADA to start. So as they were doing their expansion, they were able to share and mix maybe existing ADA that wasn't required up to what was required.
Okay.
Something like that.
Sure. Yeah, nothing more than that. I was just curious.
Okay.
Anything different or special, but that
Yeah.
clears it up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I don't adjourn the meeting because it wasn't a meeting, but we are finished.